Okay, so I think from the previous videos that we've made on this channel over the years, it's pretty easy to see that I love Filipino hockey players. Of course, I'm Filipino myself, born in the Philippines, Filipino parents, etc., moved to Canada as an immigrant, so for me, whenever I see Filipino roots elsewhere in the NHL, it makes me feel very happy. However, we have unfortunately not covered this story at all. Pretty much because there's been other things popping up here and there, but with this new rumor on the block that puts the spotlight on this player and the Dallas Stars, I thought it would be a great opportunity to go over the situation as a whole and address the rumor at the same time. So, we're going over probably the best Filipino hockey player, or at least hockey player that happens to have Filipino roots, ever at the moment. He plays for the Dallas Stars. He currently does not have a contract, and I have to be very careful by saying that, because if he signs his contract sometime in the next, hour, then this video is going to be kind of pointless. But today we're talking about Dallas Stars phenom Jason Robertson. Now, Robertson is a pretty young guy, 23 years old. He's pretty big, too, 6'3", 201, a lot bigger than his younger brother Nick Robertson. But Jason, as we have noted, currently does not have a contract for 2022-2023. He is an unsigned RFA, and when it comes to the conversations about the contract for Robertson, we kind of haven't really been getting too many updates about that. I mean, if we go over and search his name up on Twitter, let's go ahead and do that. Here, this is what Pierre LeBrun said today. No real update on the Jason Robertson contract situation other than both sides say that ongoing daily discussions are continuing. Of course, you could see why this would be a problem in the current state of the NHL with the preseason training camp is over. A guy like Jason Robertson, if he signs today, is coming over to a team with no actual exposure to what they've been doing the past few weeks. So, obviously, in an ideal situation, you would want to get this contract done as soon as possible. When it comes to things like this, we have seen a few worst-case scenarios, I guess, happen over the past few years. Last year, you had yourselves Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes, who did not sign until during the preseason, so they came into camp, or not even camp, they came into the team without a camp and everything, so it was kind of difficult for them to adjust right away. Actually, nah, I take that back. Quinn was okay. Petey had a lot of trouble, though. And then, of course, a few years back, prior, you had yourselves William Nylander, who went through an entire situation where he held out until December because there was no contract negotiation process that was settled any time beforehand. Now, with Jason Robertson, it's only a matter of time to see where things go, and with the Dallas Stars and their cap situation, one may wonder, okay, where the heck do you go, dollar-wise, with this type of player? Because as we said, Jason Robertson is 23 years old, he's a young guy, and last year he was over a point per game, scoring 79 points in 74 games played. Just the year prior to last season, he was a rookie, getting 45 points in 51 games. He was an absolute monster right off the bat, and there's a reason he challenged Kirill Kaprizov for the Calder in 2020-2021. He was really good in the OHL too, which is kind of why people were sort of expecting him to be okay, but then he just exploded in the AHL, and he's never really looked back since then. Jason Robertson is legitimately one of the most talented players on the Dallas Stars, and it's kind of funny to see how that works, because he's not really the guy who is the fastest, he isn't really the most skilled, he doesn't really have the best shot, he just kind of makes the right plays and he wins his 50-50 battles a lot. He's the ultimate right place, right time, not really dangerous until he's dangerous kind of player, and of course, paired with that first line of Pavelski and Hintz, it makes for a very interesting combination that the Dallas Stars can probably see projecting well into the next few seasons, at least as long as Joe Pavelski's around to still keep on kicking. So of course, it goes without saying that the Dallas Stars probably do want to re-sign Jason Robertson. It's just the contract amount, everything, that's not really been decided yet. But we still have ourselves some other discussions to go about with this player, starting out with what was said on the After the Whistle Show Twitter account. Now, the After the Whistle Show is a podcast hosted by ex-NHLers Andrew Peters and Craig Rivet. They've got 7,000 followers. Of course, they have a following because of their NHL prowess. And earlier today, they made this tweet, which kind of got people conversing about what the heck else is happening behind the scenes here. We've heard that the Buffalo Sabres have inquired about Jason Robertson from Dallas. Now, that's it. That's all the tweet says. There isn't really any explanation as to what exactly it is the Sabres are offering or what the Stars are saying. It's just, hey, the Sabres have asked about this player. And at the end of the day, that's not really the biggest piece of news, I feel, because of course any team going out there is likely going to be asking about any other player that's out there on the market that isn't signed or that has some uncertainty with the direction of where they're going with the team that they're currently on. So even though this kind of news may not be the most surprising, and it's probably shared amongst all the other NHL teams, like if you went out there and told me tomorrow that, yeah, it's not only Buffalo that's asking about Robertson, it's this other team and this other team and this other team, like I wouldn't really be too surprised. It's just, if it's in writing here that, hey, the Buffalo Sabres have indeed conversed with Dallas about this kind of guy, then I kind of am interested still in going over what this could have looked like. Because, of course, the Buffalo Sabres, if they wanted to go out there and get themselves a guy like Jason Robertson right away, they could sign that guy right now to anything he wanted on the spot. Boom, just say the number, and it's yours. Because Jason Robertson is a point-per-game star who is already a first-line caliber player at 23 years old. The Buffalo Sabres, as a relatively younger team, would likely benefit tenfold from the services of a guy who is as good and who is as young. With guys like Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power, and the forwards they have like Mittelstadt, Tuch, Krebs, Cousins, etc. all growing into what they could become, a guy like Robertson could really add a good dynamic to that top six. It's just, what in the world are the Dallas Stars even thinking about getting in return for Jason Robertson if the treacherous thought of trading the guy even enters their minds in the first place? I feel like if you're going to go out there and even explore the idea of a Robertson trade, firstly, of course, it goes without saying you're going to have to get a player that replaces that spot in the lineup, so somebody who could play on the first line with Hintz and Pavelski. So who the heck is that on Buffalo? Alex Tuch? No, you're not going to trade away Alex Tuch. Victor Olofsson? I don't know. Is he the guy to go out there and fulfill that type of role? You just signed Tage Thompson to a pretty good contract, so you're probably not going to trade that guy away. And for Jack Quinn, he definitely isn't proven enough in the same realm that Peyton Krebs is. There really isn't a guy that I feel could absolutely replace the caliber of talent that Jason Robertson has on this forward core, because in my opinion, just honestly, like right now, who would I rather have? I'd rather have Robertson than pretty much everybody here except for Tage Thompson maybe. And that's for the short term. Obviously long term, guys like Krebs and Cousins and Mittelstadt have sky high potential, but we'll see where they go as their careers go on. But for Robertson, you're going to have to get yourselves a player that is of that caliber, maybe even just a shade below, plus maybe a first and maybe another prospect too. That seems to be the going rate for every player that's on the market that is a notably good athlete, right? With the Chichrins and the Eichels and everybody else, it always seems to be that, a first-round pick, plus a good prospect, plus a roster player that can replace that original guy. It's just sometimes with guys like Alex DeBrincat, for example, you get trades that go down where it's like, hey, they didn't pay that price at all. Ottawa completely just gave Chicago scraps for Alex DeBrincat. And even here, it's a bit different because DeBrincat was traded with at least 1 year left. Robertson, if you trade this guy away, the new team is going to be able to sign him right then and there as an RFA to a long-term extension as well. Buffalo, if they get Jason Robertson, they could keep him locked up long-term in the same way they did to Tage Thompson. And that would be a pretty good dynamic duo down the line. So, I don't know, if you're a Dallas Stars fan, you can talk to the comments, let your thoughts about Jason Robertson and what you feel the contract handed out to him should be like. Also, what are your thoughts on the Buffalo Sabres and who they have in their system? If there was a trade with Robertson to Buffalo, what would you want in return? Obviously, I know you wouldn't want to do that, like in the first place. No, just keep Robertson signed to whatever he wants. But when it comes to what a potential trade could look like, what are your thoughts on that sort of makeup right there? And if you're a Buffalo Sabres fan, what would you want to give up to get a guy like Jason Robertson, assuming you could sign him to a multi-year extension, 6-7 years, etc., etc.? What are your opinions on what you would want to give up? Because I know when it comes to a player of the caliber of talent like this, there usually is a lot of capital going the other way, or at least that's what it usually is. DeBrincat might be the exception, but either way, talk to the console your thoughts about Jason Robertson, the contract situation, and all the trade rumors behind it. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 99, and bye.